From the great halls of their house, there are assembled three who hope to one day be the world's greatest driving heroes. Created from the cosmic legends of the universe comes our team captain, the Vision, Bill Fisher. Their soon-to-be Wonder Woman, Vicky Fisher. Our Captain Marvel and head flight trainee, Jennifer Skripchuk. And our Batman, the master of tools, gadgets, and all things mechanical, our mild-mannered soon-to-be billionaire, Alan Danvers. Their mission, to fight injustice, share what is right and wrong, to get you out of your house and come out racing with them, and serve all mankind. They are the Garage Heroes in Training Team.
Captain's Log Supplemental.
Miss Vicky.
Yes, sir.
You know what?
What?
I've been thinking about this Sentinel system.
Yeah. Tell me about the Sentinel system.
So what I was thinking was, we have the one car that's got the aim dash that's slowing us down. Because installing the aim dash is actually, it probably is easy, but it's quite hard the first time. And we haven't figured that out yet. The Sentinel system is really easy to set up. So what I was thinking was, why don't we put it in the Lemons car? And we'll worry about the aim data information separately. And we'll kind of break it down into a project. Because then we'd have the motorsports video system that we really, really want, and we'd be able to stream it. We just won't have the data inside, but we have the data outside, so we can combine them later. But I think that's a really good solution.
So what does this Sentinel system do?
Well, if it had the aim data, it would have all the data on the screen, and you could see all their telemetry and everything live. But we'd be able to not only record it for viewing after the race, but we could actually watch our car during the race.
Ooh, like on the monitor and everything?
On a monitor, if you were at home and I was at a track, or if you were at the track and I was at home, depends on who gets the short straw, but we'd be able to watch each other.
It's something I've always wanted to do.
And you know what? If you're driving, you know what you can do on the Sentinel system?
What's that?
You can communicate to me with your hands, and I can't do a thing about it.
Even better.
So, if you need to give a wave or a Jersey wave, whatever you need, we could save it and see it on the screen. And then you can have up to 3 different cameras, and it'll have picture in picture. You'll have the basic main shot out the front window, and then 2 cameras where you put them wherever you want. One could be on the driver, or one could be on the rear view. It's kind of cool.
Then we can upload it onto YouTube.
We could bore millions of people on YouTube.
I love it.
All right. Very well. You know what the only downside I see about this?
What?
Your mom and my mom are going to be panic stricken the entire weekend watching this thing to see if everything's going well.
This is true.
We probably shouldn't tell them.
I like the idea of having a Sentinel.
Well, luckily we have maybe 2. Depends on how things go. We're going to try. All right. That sounds like a plan. That's the project. We got to get that ready for the next race.
Sounds great.
All right. Very well. Thank you, ma'am. Welcome to the latest Dominating with Dawson with Ben Dawson. And Vicky.
All right.
Hey.
Wow. That sounds like we were on a Saturday Night Live parody thing. But anyway, there's this thing about racing that nobody talks about. However, I believe it affects everybody, because everybody I ever talked to about it is like, yeah. It's called the post-race hangover. It has nothing to do with being drunk. It has nothing to do with what you drink. It has nothing to do with that. Every time you go to the track, you are shot when you get back. Have you ever had this, Mr. Dawson?
Absolutely. It's like it's the post-race hangover is produced for me from a cocktail of various factors. Getting to go to the track anytime in my adult life is a full-on wish fulfillment. It's one of the best things I can imagine, being able to get away from life and normal life and work routines to get to go do is to go to the racetrack. And then on top of that, if I might get to actually race, not necessarily just driving around, and that's even more exciting to me. So I've got it's a real mountaintop experience. Just about any time in my adult life I get to go to the racetrack. So you build yourself up for this big mountaintop experience. There's a lot of lead up to it. There's a lot of planning. You're spending money to get there. The experience, the event itself, even if it's not great, even if everything doesn't go perfect, you're at the track around a bunch of people who you value and enjoy. So even a bad day at the track is a good day. So you're gonna come home from this mountaintop experience almost no matter how it went, and have a pretty significant sort of like letdown period. At least I've experienced that. I think that's what you're talking about too. But I can say for my own self, part of that is that it's over. Like, damn, it's gonna be another few months before I get to get out and do this. So it's over. I'm gonna have to like a cool down period where I don't get to do any of this. So that's coming up. It's over, and it's gonna be a while till you get to do it again. But also for me, I'm a pretty serious introvert, but nobody believes that. When I tell people that, they're like, no way, because I'm pretty extroverted at the track. I know a lot of people. People know me from around. I've been around for a while, so I can see a lot of people that I know at the track. I do a lot of BS and talking, and I value my time with friends at the track who I don't get to see very often. But as an introvert, that means that I'm somebody who personal interactions take away from me. Like I have to recharge. Extroverts gain the same kind of energy I lose through interactions. So one of my big letdowns when I come back from the track too is I have to remind myself not to go into introvert recharge mode the minute I get home around my family, because that just makes me be a butthole to everybody. So I have to temper my own personality part of the letdown too. When I get back from the track, I can't just go into nobody talk to me mode. I'm recovering. Like I still have to interact with the people in my house and stuff like that, which I only know this because it was pointed out to me. So, some of this stuff is hard to be self-aware about your own race hangover sometimes. And you might have other people point out to you that, hey buddy, here's what happens when you come back from the track too. So anyway, that's kind of my personal experience and how race after the race hangovers work for me.
What about you, Miss Vicky?
I'm sorry. I didn't even mention how tired your body is. Obviously, your body is tired. You're gross. You're disgusting. All your shit's disgusting. Also.
Yeah, he's not wrong. I think that it's different for me at the races because it's all just pure adrenaline. But he's not wrong about the introverted extroverted thing, because I used to be, well, I know I was always kind of sort of introverted, but I didn't realize just how much of a drain. Like, you're right.
I'm right here.
I know, right but like large social settings, I do need to recharge after those. When some people just you're right, they get energy from them, and I don't necessarily do. But I think we've discussed this before. Just the hangover itself. Oh my God, it hits you for like days. But it's. I started teasing is that the 24 hours of lemons for us, and just racing in general, it's not about just being on the racetrack and then you're racing a car and you're going home. Sometimes you're up really late, and when you get off the track, the job doesn't end by just coming off the track. I mean, there's so much to do, and sometimes you're working on your cars until 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, depending on what they need. And then you're waking up the next morning. It depends on some people, fixing an engine till 3 o'clock in the morning. And then you have to get up and it all starts again at 7 o'clock the next morning. So, and unless food is put in front of you, you'll forget to eat.
Yep.
You'll forget to drink. I mean, you're just running on a high all weekend, and a go motivation. It just doesn't stop in a fun way. But by the time you come home, I mean, Sunday night, you're still kind of, that was kind of fun. You talk about it. Monday morning and Tuesday is when it gets you. Monday's a day you kind of just like you're sitting in your office or you're sitting at work and taking a break and you're drooling out of the corner of your mouth. But Tuesday is the worst day. You hit a brick wall. And for me, I know my first race, I literally it took me till Thursday just to recover. It was terrible.
True. Okay, so you got adrenaline, you've got excitement, you've got activity, you've got hot, cold, wet. The amount of time it takes. I mean, you're up for very long days usually. Effort you put out, the food and drink may not be optimal. You've got rest or sleep or none of the above sometimes. And let's not forget that preparation, getting there, you didn't exactly sit around, so you probably shot yourself a little bit doing that.
Oh yeah.
And then in spite of my efforts, round is a shape, but it does not help you in being in shape. And the more in shape you are, the less the hangover typically could be. Yes?
Yeah. You know, I would have to say, just take care of yourself going into the race. It's so important.
Don't go in shot.
Don't go in shot. Oh, and the big thing too, delegate. Delegate. Don't try to do it all yourself because you will burn yourself out.
We have bad stories
I agree.
from being shot. We had a team. Our only team kerfuffle that I can think of was we were shot.
A bad one.
We were shot going in, and it didn't help. All right, so we all recognize that this can happen, and it's really funny that the three of us all consider ourselves introverts, and we have a podcast that goes out to millions and millions.
We're introverted extroverts.
That's right. That's right. We didn't say that millions and millions listened. We just said it goes out to millions and millions, and they choose to ignore us. But that's fine. So, what can we do to alleviate this, to make it better, or at least recover faster, or make it not as bad? Anybody have any tricks? Any thoughts? Anything that's worked?
Yeah. For me, just self-awareness was one of the biggest things. Just be aware that I have kind of a personal problem with getting home from an event like a race or just an event anytime where I'm around a lot of people for a sustained amount of time. So it helps me to know that about myself so that I can try to mitigate it, because I'm eventually going to have time to recharge my batteries. It doesn't have to happen the second I get home, and as long as I realize that it's something that I'm going to need to eventually kind of offset it with some time where I'm just by myself watching TV and doing chores or something like that, I'll kind of eventually catch up. But for me, one of the biggest parts about it was being self-aware of it. One of the mitigating factors for me too was I don't let myself get excited about a race until like the day before. Like the day before I'm going to leave town, the day I get to start packing to leave town, that's the day I let myself start getting excited. So I've got all these little cheats and reminders for myself to not get too worked up about it, not let myself get too excited too early. When I'm at the track, I try to really take time to take in how fun it is, take some pictures of what's there so I'll remember it. I try to not be overwhelmed by how many people are there, how many people I got to talk to. I try to just roll with whoever I see. Often, if I see people I recognize who I'm not that excited about talking about, I don't go out of my way to go talk to them. If they find me, they find me. If they notice me, I'll talk to them. But I try to do little things along the way that I know will help me. Like I don't try to talk to every person I recognize. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So there's some of the things I do kind of in the lead up. We talked about the stuff for me afterwards. I mean, I know my body's going to be sore. I know I'm going to be tired coming out of that. So those are sort of things I just take as calculated risks. Like I know I'm going to come home beat up and have to jump right back into the work cycle of, you don't get to come home I never get to come home from the track and then take another day off of work to just recuperate. So as long as I'm aware of it, I it's not that bad. Also, doing it a bunch of times helps you too. The more a routine it becomes, the easier it becomes for me too.
What about you, Miss Vicky?
Well, I know what I should be doing. I just never do it.
That's several things, but go on.
Well, yeah, I know. I have bad habits still. And one of them is that I cannot sleep before a race. I have I really have a hard time sleeping, really bad.
Wow.
So
why are you stressing about the race? Are you thinking about what's going to happen, or do you have specific race dread?
No, I just think that I'm doing so much that I think I just have busy brain. and it's just
Gotcha.
really, really hard to sleep. So the nice thing is that we did delegate out. So Jennifer manages food, and we manage cars and garage. And
oh, you can eat during the race weekend?
huh?
I said, oh, you can eat during the race weekend?
Oh, we got serious paddock game. So yeah, but I think it's because that usually that Alan and I or myself are just so trying to get the cars ready, and then Bill manages the packing in the garage and getting us there, and Jennifer manages food. So, but I mean, in the past we've just been trying to prep these cars, and we've always had quite a bit of them, and I don't mean that in a really weird way, but you know, we have the HPDE cars that we share, and then we hold the race car or race cars. So we are responsible for all of them because we have to provide them. So it's a lot. So I don't end up sleeping. Very bad habit. But the good thing is that we did learn to delegate out, because early on, Bill and I were so burned out that we weren't even enjoying the races anymore, that
Right.
we'd end up fighting because we were just exhausted. We discovered that we were just so exhausted. But if I could just sleep, then I think I would be good. But I mean, the big thing is that, I mean, it does help to rest to get there, obviously. And it does help for you to sleep when you're there is good. Or at least, you know, for Friday night and Saturday night, and make sure that you drink a lot before you go, water, and you eat, you know, properly. Just take care of yourself, take care of your body before you get
that's
there.
A good point.
And Bill keeps pushing, and we have yet to get it there or perfect, is that try to pack early. Try to get everything done early so you don't have to stress so much. You can actually think about the stuff you might be forgetting.
Solid gold right there.
Yeah.
There's no reason your car can't be packed and ready sitting in a trailer the week before.
That's true.
Well, there is a reason, and you're the reason.
You know, I am trying.
I'm not saying you. I'm saying global you, the royal you.
Yeah.
So I guess the thing that I always try to do is a race weekend. It could be a race weekend. It could be an HPD weekend. It could just be a track weekend. It could be a trip to, you know, a skid pad for a couple hours, whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's going to be draining because you've got an adrenaline high. You're excited, and driving a car is exciting. So it's a double whammy there. So there's nothing you can do to make it go to zero except not go. So what you try to do is try to treat it like a sporting event and try to train for it. Try to get in as good a shape as you can. Try to get as much sleep as you can. Try to eat as good as you can going in. Definitely try and stay hydrated, or make sure you're not dehydrated at least going into the event, because catching up is almost impossible. Once you're there, you're there. Make sure you get enough sleep. Make sure you get as much sleep as you can, as you're used to, maybe a little bit extra, you know, trying to put a little bit of sleep in the bank. It doesn't quite work that way, but it's not a bad thing. And then, you know, the one thing that we're actually pretty good at, with the help of our mentors over at Three Pedal Mafia, is we've got a pretty good paddock game, and you know, we've got food and drink and good food and junk, but you know, we've got pretty much anything at any time for everybody, and nobody goes hungry. And you know, we call everybody and say, hey, food's up, and you know, most of the people come and eat it. So you know, we're at least good at one thing at the racetrack. We're working on the rest. So
Eat it.
Right.
Exactly. Anything else we could do? Because when you're burnt out and tired, you're actually driving almost drunk, even if you haven't had any alcohol. So it's going to affect your performance as well. And safety.
Yeah, it's all the stuff you're saying is just hard to make yourself do when you're like, well, crap, it would be great to eat some pasta and have 2 glasses of water before my stint, but also I have to get back from the pick and pull. I got to slap this alternator on. You know what I mean? Like there's so many things to get in the way. There's so many things that are always going to get in the way of you doing a responsible job of taking care of yourself and your body and your mind at the track. But, you know, whether it takes meditation exercises for Vicky before a race, it helped calm her psyche down and help calm her brain, or it helps, or, you know, if you need a tattoo, drink water on the inside of your left wrist to remind you to do it while you're at the track. Take measures, because mitigating your post-race hangover is important, because I mean, you don't want races to be so consequential on the backside that you don't want to go do them, because it's like, man, every time I do this, it just, you know, beats the crap out of me. And yeah, I don't want to see people be less and less likely to come to the track just because of the after effects, which are real. I'm glad we're talking about this.
What do you think, Miss Vicky? Got anything?
I think he's right.
Ben's always right. We know that.
Yeah, I know. I know. Just be good to yourself.
Be good to yourself.
For sure.
We're gonna break out the song there.
And also think about this, like we always say, and I've said so many times, but if you feel off at all, whether you're at a DE or your stint is coming up in an endurance race, if you feel like something's off and you might not be fully up to driving, don't get in the car. It doesn't matter if your car sits. It doesn't matter if your car sits idle by the track while the race is going on for 2 hours. Don't get in the car if you yourself don't feel right. If something feels off, don't get in that car. You see, this is one of the most dangerous things you can do with your body and a bunch of other people's bodies. So if you feel off, take the L. Don't go out on track, because taking the L is taking a win in that situation. So I just always got to give that caveat. If you don't feel right, don't do it.
You are correct. Absolutely.
I think we were actually like helpful.
Oh, crap.
I know. If we set this as a precedent, does that mean we have to do this every time?
I started thinking of unconstructive things to say, and I just decided not to say any of them. I'm going to leave it. I'm going to let it lie. I'm going to let it lie right where that is.
All right. Very well. Tune in next time where Ben lets go and doesn't self-edit.
I was going to say something about letting go of the steering wheel.
That could be a returning joke for future episodes.
Oh, it's
yeah,
a callback.
I think it will. I'm good with it.
You're gonna have to be.
Yeah.
You know what the best part is?
Somebody get in the car with me.
It's 2 years from now. 2 years from now, when we're looking back at the podcast, you know how 2 years ago we were making fun of her for my car's on rails?
Oh yeah.
No, and me, the Sunday driver on the video.
Yeah. So 2 years from now, she's gonna be like, I can't believe I used to just let go of the steering wheel.
She's gonna have a tattoo across her shoulder that says Jesus take the wheel.
That's right. He is not wrong.
Hopefully it only takes less than 2 years, but that's all I'm hoping for.
That's why we're training, right?
Exactly. Always in training.
Always in training.
100%. Thank you, Mr. Dawson.
Thanks for having me. It's always fun. Thanks, guys.